A big thank you to the Geelong Highland Pipe Band. And now we are going to have some dancing here for us by Geelong Scottish Dance. They are just in front of Harry's Farmyard over by the sculptures over there. They're going to do a performance for us for about 15 minutes or so. If you guys would like to turn your attention over towards Harry's Farmyard for the Geelong Scottish Dance.
Sing me a song of a lass that is gone. Say, could that lass be I? Mary of soul, she sailed on a day over the sea to sky. Billow and breeze, islands and seas, mountains of rain and sun. All that was good, all that was fair, all that was
A very big thank you to our Scottish dancers. If we could give them one more round of applause. Thank you so much for your performances this morning. And without further ado, I would like to welcome everyone officially to the 32nd Australian Highland Cattle Society National Show, hosted by the Victorian Highland Breeders Group on behalf of the AHCS. My name is Lauren Jakeway. I will be your MC today. I will be keeping you informed with what is happening throughout the day. This year, we have more than 60 animals entered, with 22 exhibitors from all across the country, including Victoria, South Australia, New South Wales, and Queensland. I also want to acknowledge our sponsors who have made this show possible through their incredible generosity and their ongoing support. I'll be mentioning them throughout the day, so please keep that in mind as you're out there to make sure that you're supporting our sponsors, because their generosity is what makes our show possible. Without further ado, I would like to now introduce our esteemed international judge, Mr. Jacob Larson, hailing all the way from the US of A, from Tennessee, a greatly accredited Highland cattle broker and consultant, holding the title of having fitted or shown 13 of the last 24 US national champions or reserve champions. It is an absolute pleasure to have him here with us today. Welcome, Jacob.
Thank you very much. Well, our heifers are already lining up. I won't keep you too long, but I just want to make a couple quick acknowledgements here. First, to the Australian National Show Committee for inviting me to come out. It is a real honor, and I don't take it lightly at all. I think this is a great responsibility that I have today to sort through these 60-some Highland cattle that are the nation's best. And as a judge, I am both an educator and an influencer, and that is a responsibility for me to select the genetics here that are really the best for the breed. So that's my goal today. Just to give you a little context, I'm trying to sort through these classes and find what is the best representation of each class, each champion division and overall championship will be a reflection of the breed standard and what I see as being the closest representation to that. I would like to acknowledge these exhibitors. We have people from all over Australia and have come a great distance in some cases. We have people who have been breeding Highland cattle for many decades. Some novices, welcome. And there's a lot of work that goes into bringing these cattle out. I know firsthand. I've been a breeder and exhibitor of Highland cattle all my life pretty much, and I know that there is great cost, there's great time and effort that goes into bringing cattle out, and there's high hopes today, and just want to tell you I'm going to give you my best to sort your cattle. And last but certainly not least, I want to acknowledge the creator of the genetic code, the designer of Highland cattle, God Almighty, who made this breed a great breed. I think the best on earth, the most beautiful indeed, and all credit where credit is due. So with that, we'll bring in the first classes. Thank you.
We are officially underway with the judging of the first class here at the 32nd National Highland Cattle Show. And somebody has already had enough and wants to have a nap. We are currently judging class number 11, the first class of today's program. This is heifer 8 months and under 12 months. These heifers are 8 months and under 12 months. They are our youngest females here today. And I would like to give a big shout out to the sponsor for this class, Multicube Stock Feeds. Big thank you to Multicube Stock Feeds for supporting this class today. We have 3 beautiful heifers in this class. It is great to see these classes be so supported by our exhibitors today. While Jacob has a really thorough look over these incredible animals here today, I can let you know a little bit about the heritage of the Australian Highland cattle and Highland cattle as a breed. The Highland is one of the oldest registered breeds of cattle, with the first herd book of Highlands being established in 1885. Highlands are sometimes referred to as the grand old breed. Highlands are arguably, and we would consider, one of the most majestic breeds of cattle, easily recognisable, and once seen, they can never be forgotten. Despite their long horns, the Highlands are considered a very even-tempered animal, both the bulls and the cows having a reasonably even-tempered nature. They are reasonably easy broken to lead, as you can see here, and even more so because they are considered to have a superior intelligence. Highland cattle obviously weren't originally heralding from Australia, but they have adapted very well to Australian climates. Cold weather and snow have very little effect on them, as you can probably tell by their layers and layers of fur. And in their summer coat, although they do appreciate the shade, they are able to tolerate very well the harsh Australian heat. They have developed over a long number of years into an efficient and a versatile beef breed. As natural foragers, they are largely self-sufficient and require very minimal maintenance. In more recent years, breeders have recognised the inherent qualities of Highland cattle as a beef breed specifically because of their ability to efficiently convert very rough or sparse fodder into a low-fat and high-quality beef. Highland cattle have a strong and vast history in Australia, dating back to 1829, when it was believed that the first Highland cattle were imported to Australia by a variety of Scottish immigrants. The Australian Highland Cattle Society, that is running this incredible national show today, was formed on May the 7th in 1988. It became incorporated in 1990, and by 1994, the membership had risen to 204, with approximately 2,000 registrations of Highland cattle. In 2017, thanks to the efforts of the Australian Highland Cattle Society breeders, a Rare Breeds Trust of Australia announced that the Highland cattle had been removed from the at-risk watch list and was reclassified as a recovering breed. It's really incredible to think that our exhibitors today were a part of rebuilding the breed and recovering it to where it is today.
I'm excited to start with this class of Highland females. We have an age group here just after weaning age, so you're kind of seeing the production of the cow coming through in these three, and they're just starting to get out on their own and show their true colors. What I have here is a set of three that they're all very high quality in their own regards, in their own rights, and what I've started with is a dun heifer. You can go ahead and lead off. Who I believe has the right package in terms of her completeness. She is a deep-bodied heifer. She has a feminine and elegant kind of look to her. She also has enough beef, and this is a beef breed. We need to remember that. But also they're maternal breeds. So we're looking for a female who can produce in the herd for a long lifespan. I think this heifer has that ability in her to go the distance and be a productive cow. Second place heifer here has a lot of those same similar characteristics. She's got beef, she's got femininity, she has breed character, a beautiful animal. I like her extension, and she has that over the heifer above her. I would change her just a little in her hip design. She's a little higher through the hip, a little not as deep through the flank, but do like the way that she travels and her natural beauty. This last heifer here, not last because she is a bad heifer. This is really a heifer that has lots of smooth character. Really like the way she lays in throughout. She may have the best foot on her in the class, and I like her length of body. I just give her just some more muscle, some more thickness throughout her body. I feel like she might be a female that gets out there on the pasture, and she's going to need a whole lot of it to raise a big calf and support her own body just a little bit more slight. Thank you.
Perfect. Now we have Our next class is just about to enter the show ring. We have class number 12 in your program. This is heifer 12 months and under 16 months. So these heifers are slightly older than the heifers in the previous class. It is really incredible to see a really large number of heifers in this class. This class has been incredibly well supported and from exhibitors all over the country. A big thank you to Bonnie Bray Highlands for sponsoring this class. Bonnie Bray Highlands, much appreciated your sponsorship for this class, and it is excellent to see such a range of beautiful heifers to be presented for us to judge here today. Now, during the last class, I spoke about the Australian Highland Cattle Society and how it was formed in 1988. Those of you who were here last night for dinner, our exhibitors and helpers and volunteers, we had and have again today Ray Atchison, who was one of the founding members of the Australian Highland Cattle Society. He is back here again today and will be presenting for us the Grand Champion Bull Prize. So it is really incredible to be able to have Ray back with us today as one of the founding members of the Australian Highland Cattle Association, to be able to see how far the dream and the vision of the Australian Highland Cattle Society has been able to progress over the last 30 years. Now, something that you may notice in this class is the variety of colours that we have on display for you. The Highland breed is unique in that there is a very wide range of coat colours. It can be really difficult to accurately predict what breeding one colour with another colour might produce. Although now we have genetic testing techniques that are more readily able to identify this. The recognised colours for Highlands include black, dun, silver dun, red, yellow, white, brindle, and party colour. It's really great to see the full range of colours out here on display for us to be able to see. as Jacob continues to inspect our incredible heifers here, I can let you know a little bit about the Highland breed. The Highland is a very disease resistant breed. They have these incredibly beautiful long eyelashes and their forelocks. As much as they are beautiful, they are also incredibly helpful in shielding their eyes from insects. And as a result, the blight of many Australian farmer, pink eye and eye cancers are actually far less common in our Highlands than they are in some of our other breeds. They also do not stress easily. As I mentioned earlier, they are a relatively even-tempered breed. But this means that stress-related diseases also occur with less frequency. There's also a number of other bovine diseases that have been shown to affect the Highlands less due to what is considered to be the genetic advantage of the genetic purity of the Highlands as a breed. So our judge has had a really strong look at all of our individual heifers here, and we're going to line them up so we have seen them nose to tail, and we are now going to have another look at them as they parade around the ring, and then we will have a look at them side by side so that we can see them with a different profile. It is really important to see these animals parade. It gives us a good view into the structure of the animal from the feet all the way up, and having a good look of the animal as a whole. We are now having a look at these beautiful heifers side by side so that we can compare them. Jacob is comparing them from absolutely every angle before he makes his decision on who he is going to place in his first, second, or third place. If you're not able to stay around all day, you can follow all of the judging live on the Australian Highland Cattle Society 2024 National Show Facebook event. This will be live streaming all day. You will be able to watch the judging and continue keeping up to date with the live stream that we have available on the Facebook page. What we can see happening in the show ring now is our judge pulling up a first line of heifers. He's pulling up the animals that will be considered the top animals for the consideration of the first, second, and third place prize. While we are judging these incredible heifers, we will give a shout out to our ring stewards for the day, Jared and Fiona Locke from the Geelong area. Jared and Fiona were the judges yesterday for our paraders competition and for the calves and the costume classic. The marshalling steward today is Jackie, heralding from South Australia, and also providing ring assistance is Ben Butler from Victoria. Big thank you to all of our helpers out here today, without who this show would not be possible.
All right, we have one of our largest classes today, I believe. I have taken the time I believe is necessary in evaluating this set. There's a lot of diversity in body type, in growth rate, in breed character. All of that takes quite a bit of time to analyze, to break down fairly, I believe. I have started this class with a heifer that I think comes to the top, not because she is the biggest. We are not necessarily judging these cattle on a scale. I am looking for the complete package. What we have in front of us here is a heifer that really exhibits breed character strongly. She is elegant, she's feminine, her shoulder lays in very nicely in terms of a appropriate calving design for calves that have that smooth shoulder joint that comes out fluidly. I like her hip design. I like her length, the pin, hook to pin, her hip bone here, her pin bone here. There's a big triangle. You can put a lot of meat on that, a lot of meat on her steers later. She's got a good foot, good legs under her. This is the best package in this class, in my opinion. As, like I said, not the biggest one. Some of you might be looking at this class and wondering why I have some of the smallest ones in the front here. That's because, to me, these exhibit the most correctness and the most complete package, regardless of their overall size. They're adequate size for their age. These are just yearling heifers, 13, 14 months, every single one of them, I believe. And so you can go ahead and lead out. Congratulations. The heifer in second, I really appreciate her rib shape. She has some of the same things as the heifer in first, and I deliberated a little bit. You saw me walk them again afterwards. But I really like that depth of body, that breed character. She has a really good angle to her leg set, and that's important as an animal spends its whole life on those feet and on those legs, and I want to see the right angles there that are going to last the lifespan of her production. And I think we have a little heifer here that's going to go a long ways. So with that, those two being very close in a lot of ways, we come to a heifer that's a bit different. She's a standout in the class in terms of her size, her development. She's the biggest footed heifer in this class, very clean shoulder, lots of depth of rib, and we need to have that in the breed. And I have seen in recent years the breed tending towards a more tubular, shallower ribbed model, and I do not favor that, because a maternal breed, which we have about the strongest maternal breed on earth, they really should have all of that capacity, all that rib depth to house all the food they take in, the calf, and their vital organs. All of that needs to be going on at the same time inside. So we need that depth, that spring of rib. Now, I'd say she's maybe not the most feminine in terms of, those ones that came above her are definitely better in breed type and femininity, but I think she's adequate, and a good third place here. I would change her just a little bit in the slope of her pin structure, but a minor fault for a good heifer here. So we have a black here at fourth. Now, she's one of the smaller ones in the class, but again, rose to the top because of her complete balance from front to back. She has proportions that are correct. I want to see plenty of back end and a balance to that front end, so where she can make a steer calf that is going to have plenty of beef, is going to be an animal that fits that commercial kind of mind that's thinking utilitarian. We have a heifer here that can do that, and also fits the breed standard too. She's got beauty, and you can go ahead and lead her out. I like how fluid she is as she moves, and a good one there. So where are we at here? Another black heifer to follow. Love the hair coat. I think that as compared to the one below her, she doesn't have quite the balance from front to back. You can go ahead and lead her out and show her off here. I like how deep she is in the front end, but she tapers a little bit towards the back end. She's a little higher in her hips. She slopes over her pins a bit, a little closer in those back legs. High power heifer in terms of her growth. She's one of the bigger ones in the class, and you do have to appreciate that. Just give her a little bit more balance throughout. Again, a heifer that is one of the bigger ones in the class. Just there's a couple things here as I get my hands on them, and you kind of have to be the judge on some of these because I'm the only one actually touching them. She doesn't have the power as some of these other heifers above her. There's a lot of hair there, but I'd like to see a little more substance. She's a little finer made, and so I just give her a little stronger presence too. She needs a little more breed character and presence in the ring to go any higher today. So second to the bottom here, a heifer that's just a little smaller. Not that I was discriminating on the size so much, but I'd like to change her just a little bit in her hip design. She's short from hip to pin and rounds a little over that structure. And from a calving standpoint, we want to see a nice, broad, long, fairly level hip. And she's not very faulty there, but enough of a difference between her classmates and her that she placed down because of that structure. I do like her thickness. I like her front end, her leg angle. She's just a little small in the feet, and that was another thing that put her down a notch. Was I want to see a lot of heel under that foot, and I want to see a little bit bigger platform to match the substance above, because that foot is carrying her whole life. Last place heifer here. Good job bringing this heifer out. I do like her bone size, her foot size. I'd like to see those feet positioned just a little bit better. As I get behind her, she toes out just a little bit. She's somewhat more angular than her classmates and holds that hip structure a little higher. Her overall balance could be better. I'd like to see a little less front end, a little more beef in that back end, and that's where she got docked, even though she is really one of the largest and fastest growing heifers, and she has that advantage. Thanks for bringing her out.
Another big thank you to Bonnie Bray Highlands for sponsoring class number 12. We now continue on in our program to class number 13. The place getters in class number 12. Number 21 was our first place getter, Isla Bell of Arcadia. Second place went to number 17 in your program. This is Carrie Henriette of Glenstray. And third place, number 15, Isabel Kiva of Hunter Highlands. So our place getters for class number 12. First place was number 21 in your program. Second place, number 17 in your program. And third place, number 15 in your program. We now continue into class number 13. This class is heifer 16 months and under 20 months. This is another very well supported class. As we can see, there is a number of heifers here on show for us today. A big thank you to the exhibitors for bringing these animals out for us to see today. Also a big thank you to Custom Steel Appeal for sponsoring this class. Once again, without our sponsors, this show would not be possible. So a big thank you to Custom Steel Appeal for their sponsorship of this class. While Jacob has a good long hard look at all of the incredible heifers that we have in this class, we can consider the attributes of Highland cattle beef. The natural Highland cattle attributes make them a first choice to produce specialist beef. The pure Highland beef is a slow maturing, lean, firm and very low in fat, while at the same time is rich in protein and iron. It is unsurpassed in terms of flavour, tenderness and juiciness that comes from having just the right amount of marbling throughout the meat to be able to give it that succulent flavour so typical of an old-fashioned or traditional beef. And if you are interested, Cambus Glen has a beef tent where you can go and taste the wares for yourself here today. As well as the Lions Club is having their pies as well. As we watch these beautiful heifers, I can let you know a little bit about what the breed standard has to say about their hair, one of the most iconic parts of the Highland cattle. Highland cattle have two coats of hair. The outer coat that you can see is long and strong, and it is meant to keep the winter weather away from their skin. The undercoat is soft and fluffy and is what is actually designed to keep their bodies warm. This undercoat, it doesn't grow long to renew the outer coat, but each coat is separately renewed. the Australian Highland Cattle Society's official coat colours range from black through to brindle, dun, silver dun, red, yellow, white, and party. If you are here with us at the Geelong Showgrounds, please make sure that you are wandering over to the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent and having a look at the raffle. There is some absolutely incredible prizes there. First prize is Wally the Wombat. Wally is a life-size Corton weathering steel wombat sculpture that is donated by Matt Hill. It is valued at $4,000. Our first prize, Wally the Wombat sculpture, valued at $4,000. Tickets for the raffle are $5 each, or 5 for $20. There is a number of prizes on offer. We have Dolly the Coo artwork acrylic print, an Adopt a Highland Coo pack, and a Shut the Gate Highland Cow sign as well. Make sure you head over and have a look at the raffle prizes and purchase a raffle ticket to make sure that you are in the running to win one of our incredible prizes and supporting the Australian Highland Cattle Society so that we can continue to run this incredible show next year. An interesting point of difference for this class is the age of breeding for Highland cattle. Typically, in an interbreeds, you may have heifers that are in calf or cows in calf, but most breeders in Australia will join their Highland heifers at around 2 years of age, so that they have their first calf when they turn 3. Highlands are usually quite slow maturing. They take a little while longer to reach full body weight. They're not considered to be fully grown until they are about 4 or 5 years of age. This is balanced by the fact that they live quite a lot longer, with cows continuing to calve well into their teens and up to 20 years of age. So although in a typical interbreeds you may expect to have heifers in calf in this age group, in this 16 to 20 month age group, none of these heifers are in calf as of yet. They take a little bit longer to develop and mature and be ready to produce that calf for us.
Again, a large class with a lot of differences of body type and style, and you get that with Highland cattle. That comes with the breed because we have a lot of genetic diversity, which is a positive thing in many ways. We have genetic options, and in this class, there's a lot of options. We have just a diversity of body type. So, again, focusing my vision on what is most useful for the breed in terms of efficiency of production, beauty, and structural quality. The heifer on top here rises to the top, not because she's a perfect heifer. There wasn't really not a perfect heifer in this class. But I do like a lot of things about her. Now, what I find is that she's the most natural. She has the right bones where she needs to have them. She has the right angles and a good foot under her. She blends really well through this front end. I like her depth of rib, her hip structure. As I put my hands on her, I broaden her just a little bit from the top view through those hips, but she's adequate there. I would change her also in her breed character a little bit in the front end. I'd like to change the horn to tip up a little bit, maybe give her a little less mass and development to her horn for her age, a little more width between her eyes. So some points of breed character there that are not quite perfect for me. However, for being a cow that's very efficient and useful in the herd, I think this is a cow that's going to be that brood cow that's going to last a long, long time and make some really nice calves. Now, the heifer that comes second to her, you can go ahead and lead off. The heifer that comes second to her is a very different type, and I struggle in my mind a bit as I chose these two because this one is a little flatter made. You know, as I get in front of her, I'd like to see her broader through the shoulder. She blends very well. She's very elegant and beautiful. I really like her in terms of her breed character, her hair coat. Her hip design is probably the best in the class. I really like this width of hip. You get behind her, and she's a tabletop. She's got a lot of length from the hip bone to the pin bone. Like her feet, her leg angles again there. I just give her a little more spring to that rib, a little more development in her muscle shape. But as I put my hands on her and study her with my hands, she's one of the lightest conditioned heifers in the class. Not necessarily the least muscular, but perhaps has had the least feed, I think. As she comes into maturity, and as you see this heifer as a 2-year-old, I think you're going to be very, very impressed as she fills out and broadens up. She has most of the points that you really would want to see. So a beautiful heifer and superior to the one above her in terms of her beauty. So as we come to the third place, and fourth place heifers, a lot of the same characteristics in these two, and a close pair in sorting these two because they have those similarities. The points that separate them, this heifer has a lot of depth of body, and I've said before I want to see that in a Highland female, that depth of rib, that capacity for production. She has that going on, and from the front end back to her hip, I really like her for those reasons. She's one of the biggest footed, most correct in the angle of her pastern and her heel. All of her joints are really good. As I study her behind, I'm not quite as pleased. I want to see a little more width in these pins. She's higher in the hip and slopes off the pins more than I'd like to see. And so that's why she didn't place any higher, though she has more substance than the heifer above her. I do like that thickness, the muscularity we see in her, but for a Highland female, we're not looking for the most muscular necessarily. We're looking for a cowy cow, a feminine cow, and a cow that can birth well, easily. This heifer in fourth came fourth under this one because she gives up some of that depth of body, especially in the flank. She has some of the same faults in terms of her hip design. I'd like to change her in that way where she could just be pulled up a little in these pins, be a little broader and flatter over the top in her hip. But I do like her feet, and I do like her leg structure, and both of these are very good heifers on their foundation, on their foot and leg level. So a nice heifer there. Really like her front end especially, very clean, beautiful, feminine. As we get to this yellow heifer, we have a female here. You can go ahead and kind of walk her around there. She gives up a little bit as you touch her, as you put your hands on her. She doesn't have the natural substance, the fleshing ability. I'd like to see her a little deeper in that flank and just have more substance. We do need to have some beef on this breed, and so I'm not looking for the most muscular, but I'm also not wanting them to be too light muscled. And she's kind of more, that one was a little more in that category. Here we have a little bit more frame. This heifer has a lot of shoulder height in that front end. Doesn't carry the balance quite as well through the back end. She sucks up in that flank where I want to see more depth for a brood cow. Go ahead and walk her out too. She toes out in the back end just slightly and in the front as well. And I want to see those feet walking straight forward and set square. That's particularly important when you get on rough terrain and uneven ground, maybe ice. They need to be planted real firmly and squarely to be stable. We have some of the same issue with this heifer. She is a little flat in her foot. That's going to cause her feet to grow out over time. You might need to trim those feet. I'd like to see just a little more depth to that heel. Length of body could be better. Overall substance could be a little bit better. And but the strong point here is a lot of breed character. I hate to put her down at the bottom because she's a beautiful animal, and I definitely respect that.
For those of you following along in your program, first place went to number 28. That is Magda Braun of Canvas Glen. Congratulations to Canvas Glen. Second place went to number 26. That is Electra of Seacrest. And third place was number 22. This is Paisley Ryback of Cooler Creek. So our placings for class number 13. First place was number 28, Magda Braun of Canvas Glen. Second place, number 26, Electra of Seacrest. And third place, number 22, Paisley Ryback of Cooler Creek. Congratulations to those exhibitors. We are moving on now to our next class. This is class number 14, heifer 20 months and under 24 months. This is the final junior female class before we will be running our championship. This class has been proudly sponsored by Lord Specialist Real Estate. A big thank you to Lord Specialist Real Estate for their sponsorship of this class and their support of the 2024 Highland Cattle National Show. What we can see in this class is we're starting to see the real development of the Highlands horns. They are designed to be narrower at the base, longer and finer at the tip than those of a bull. When we have the bulls out here this afternoon, you will see that they are more inclined to suggest masculinity and strength. These heifers' horns are designed to suggest their femininity by taking one of two classical shapes, but they are always rising after exiting the head, and they are designed to suggest the majesty and the femininity of the heifers that we have here today. As they continue to grow, their horns will continue to grow as well, and we will have another look at the femininity and the majesty of the horns of our senior females a little bit later on today. Once again, it's really great to be able to see a range of colours in the ring today. We have black, red and dun heifers in this class. Once again, that's one of the distinguishing features of the Highland cattle breed. They do have a wide variety of colours and dilutes that are able to be shown for us today. If you are wanting to stretch your legs a little bit, may I suggest that you head over to the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent over by the Cattle Pavilion shed. They have some incredible merchandise and they are selling raffle tickets for $5 each or 5 for $20. The first prize is Wally the Wombat, a life-sized weathering steel wombat donated by Matt Hill. This incredible Wally the Wombat sculpture is valued at $4,000 for our first prize. And we have some other great prizes available as well. So make sure you're heading over to the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent and having a look at what the incredible prizes are on offer and purchasing yourselves a raffle ticket for a chance to win and to support the Highland Cattle Society. Also, if you're wanting to follow along with the animals' names and their placings, show programs are available at the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent for $5. An excellent piece of memorabilia. Or if you're wanting to follow along and write down who is placing where and what, you can purchase a show program for $5 from the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent over by the Cattle Pavilion shed there.
starting this class with a heifer. I think is a very useful female for breeding. She has all the right points where you want them in terms of her hip design, her leg structure. She's the most correct in this class as you get behind her. She places her legs as she walks out from this calving standpoint. She has the right pelvic design to be an easy calver. I appreciate her breed character. She's a feminine and beautiful animal. Good foot under her, appropriate for her body mass. And then we come to the second heifer, and as compared, we have a lot of similarities in terms of frame size. Both of these are a little shorter than the two above them, and I think there's some efficiency in this style. They're a little broader, a little shorter. I would lengthen this one out a little. To be critical, I'd say I'd like to give her a little more length of neck, give her a little less throat, and she's carrying a little extra weight too, and that's something that I'll just mention from an educator's standpoint, is I'd like for her age, for her to be carrying a little less body condition. As I put my hands on her flank and on her pins, I'm feeling fat deposits, which for her age and development, I wouldn't want to see quite as much, and it limits her movement just a little out here too. So I can't really see her true athleticism because of the weight she's carrying. But mostly it's a functionality point, because at this stage of development, she's putting fat into her reproductive tract, into her mammary system, and so milkability may go down. Fertility can be compromised if you're not careful. I'm just saying you're pushing the edge a little bit with this one. But in terms of the depth, the correctness, you get behind her and she is thick, she is broad across the top. I really like the leg structure. I like her breed character especially. A really nice female. We get to the dun here. You guys can go ahead. We get to the dun here, and she has an advantage in length of body. She has a lot of frame. I would say maybe just a little too much. I'd like to see more rib shape. I'd like to see her be a little bit more moderate in her stature, to be that cow that can milk and raise a big calf at the same time as supporting her own body mass. And she gives up just a little bit structurally as you get behind her. She toes out just a little, and both of these have that disadvantage as compared to the two above them. They're not quite as correct from behind. This one not as bad. This one, as I get into her leg structure, she's just real tight in those hocks. She toes out in her feet, and so we have a decided flaw there. But both of these are very useful. I think that they have a lot of femininity. They have, like I said, that length of body. And on the profile, I just really like this black. She does have a shape that's very eye appealing, but just can't rise any higher in this class because of the structural fault behind. I'd also like to see a little better breed character in her head, especially viewed from the front. But a lovely class. Thank you for bringing them out. Let's see.
Congratulations to our place getters in Class 14, heifer 20 months and under 24 months. In first place, we have Mackenzie Windrush of Hunter Highlands. In second place, number 32, Princess Harriet of Jindabyne. And third place, Talon of Maclanaday. For those of you following on your program, the first place for class number 14 was number 34, second place number 32, and third place number 33. We now are heading into the first of our championship classes for today. This is the Champion Junior Female class, where the first place getters from the junior classes are going to compete against each other for the title of Champion Junior Female. A big thank you to Elders Mount Gambier Farm Supplies for sponsoring this championship. And the reserve champion is sponsored by Mercool. So we have our first place getters of classes 11, 12, 13 and 14, all lining up at the front here for our judge to see. And their second place getters are going to line up behind them. And the second place getter for the Champion Junior Female will be eligible for the reserve champion title. So our judge has seen each of these animals already today compared with animals of their same age group. So he has compared them to their peers, and now we are comparing them along their different age groups. We can see the youngest females on the oval side over here, and in class 11. And as we move towards the shed, our heifers are increasing in age range. So we have compared them to peers of their same age, and now we compare them as a junior female across the age ranges that we have here today. Our champion junior female will be going home today with a broad sash and a individualised trophy sponsored by Elders Mount Gambier Farm Supplies. Once again, a big thank you to Elders Mount Gambier for supporting this class and for providing these incredible prizes for our exhibitors here today.
All right, we've come right down to it here. This is our champion lineup. I have a heifer from every age category. This line are our champions. These are our reserves. So I will select a champion, and then the reserve will come and fill her position to be considered for overall reserve. Now we have a group here that I've sorted to the top. I feel like this heifer in the youngest age category is really appealing. She has breed character. She has length of body. She has depth of body. She's correct in her bone structure. I think she has a strong future. There's a lot to like about this heifer. Really eye appealing for sure. A heifer in the one that next division, she's one that really exemplifies breed character and femininity. There's nothing wrong with the front end of this heifer. There's everything right about the front end of this heifer. There's everything right about the rib shape, the pelvic design, the leg stance. She is not the most developed female. I think somebody with a different show program might have put more weight on her, and you would be seeing a more impressive heifer from the standpoint of thickness. But I think that is mostly a feed thing in this case. She has the right bones, and she's at an age that's very immature, so I expect to see her seeming in the condition she is. That's appropriate for her age. We have a heifer here who I described in her class as just a real natural heifer in terms of her thickness, her structure, her foot, all these things, just the way she blends throughout. I think she's a cow that's going to be very useful. Perfect, no. Change her a little bit in her hip design, a little bit in the breed character aspect, but definitely a powerhouse female that's gonna make some nice calves for a lot of years, and ultimately that's what I'm looking for, is that production efficiency. This is a breed noted for their longevity as compared to other breeds. They are known to outlive and outproduce pretty much any other breed. I have two females at home who are 18 years old, 17 and 18, made a nice calf this spring, and that exemplifies the durability of the Highland cow. So over time, even if her calves are not as big as the Angus calf, the Simmental calf, she is going to have an equal or greater amount of total calf weight over her lifespan that she produces. So I really have to focus and think about how long these cows are going to last. And that's really, as I look down this line, these cows stand here mostly on that merit because they are the functional cattle. So as we get to this last, the oldest heifer in this lineup, we have a female that I feel has a lot of the pieces you want. It represents the breed very well in terms of her total package. We're looking for an appropriate size foot to start with. From the ground up, she's made with enough bone substance, enough foot size, the right angles to her legs to be very functional for a long time. I like the amount of muscle, the long shape of her muscle, which is appropriate for the breed. We don't really want to see a round, tight kind of muscle. She's just a bit better, say, than the heifer, yellow heifer in that term, that aspect where she really has that feminine muscle design for a maternal breed. Really like I said in her class, this hip pattern. The length from hip to pin, the amount of drop, the width from behind, the depth and the width of her rib is all high quality. Really smooth through that front, plenty of breed character. I like a horn that maybe doesn't tip up quite as much. comes down to personal preference at some point. So some would argue with me, but a beautiful Highland female anyway. With that, I'm going to select the champion, and then, like I said, the reserve will compete at that age. And now the reserve will pull in line over here. I talked about this heifer in her class. She has a lot of those same characteristics we want to see, that depth of body, that substance, the right bone, the right foot, breed character. Really have to love a lot about her. Maybe a little shorter in that neck, but yeah, what a heifer and a strong competitor. It gets really close in this reserve decision, in fact. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a heifer that I feel follows the type of the heifer I chose as champion most closely, and has the overall strongest package to match that champion on the top. I'm going to go with this heifer as your reserve. She really follows the kind that I want to see.
A great big congratulations to Mackenzie Windrush of Hunter Highlands, our champion junior female. And a great big congratulations to our reserve champion, Isla Bell of Arcadia, number 21 in your program. Big congratulations to both exhibitors. We will be moving swiftly on from our junior females into the first of our senior females classes. This class is number 15 in your program, class 15, cow or heifer 24 months and under 36 months of age. A big thank you to our sponsor for this class, Nationwide Artificial Breeders. Thank you so much for supporting us at our national show. Without our sponsors, we are not able to run an incredible national show like this. It is really excellent to see such a large class of senior females. Quite commonly, our junior females have a much larger numbers in their classes, so it is really excellent to see some of our older girls out here today in the senior female classes being shown. As we head into our senior females, we can start to look at the type of the animal compared to the breed standard. The animal should be of good length, depth, and elevation, with a neck long enough to give the head a good lift. The head, horns, neck, body, hindquarters, and legs should all be in perfect balance. When we see them walk, when they're on the move, the highland should be showing plenty of style, character, and quality. When they're walking, they should look as if they are going places. They should have a purposeful stride. On our females, we are interested in their udders. Their udders should not be fleshy. They should be coming well forward in line with the body and well up behind, with 4 teats that are well apart and of moderate size to ensure that they can feed their calves to the best of their ability. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you have head over to the Australian Highland Cattle Society tent in front of the Cattle Pavilion. They have some incredible merchandise out there. They also have show books for sale. You can follow along with the program for just $5 if you're wanting to purchase a show program. And make sure you check out the raffle if you have not bought tickets already. We have some absolutely incredible prizes up for grabs, with the first place prize valued at $4,000 for our first prize for our raffle. That will be drawn this evening. So make sure you head over there and have a look at all of the prizes available for the raffle and purchase your ticket. It is $5 a ticket, or 5 tickets for $20. Make sure you're heading over there and having a look, because you've got to be in it to win it. just a little bit of housekeeping as we move into our more senior females. Just make sure that if you are here with us live watching, that you are on the spectators side of the fence, and we're not having arms and legs through the fence. We are dealing with now quite large, if even tempered animals. We just want to make sure that we are staying on the correct side of the boundaries, and not having anyone throwing arms and legs and jumping around. That might cause anybody a little bit of a fright here today.
Okay, well, we have an impressive class here. In terms of quality throughout, I think we have the most consistent class we've seen so far. There's some tough decisions with more minor details that I'm sorting through as I'm evaluating these females. Lots of similarity, lots of high quality structure, breed character, all of these things we want to see in a heifer this age are present. this age category are going to be calving before long. We want to find that they have an adequate udder development. I'm putting my hand on each heifer's udder, making sure they've got 4 to start with. They're all placed reasonably well, reasonable size. There's only so much you can say with a animal that hasn't already calved what that quality is going to be like, but I can tell some things already, and that has factored in here. I started with this dun heifer at the top because she is structurally most correct and best balanced in the way she's made. She has the right proportions from front to back, very feminine, beautiful Highland character, elegant front shoulder, nice foot and bone to her. Her pelvic structure is correct. I get behind her, and I find that she has enough width over the top and through her leg stance. Again, not the highest conditioned heifer in this class, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for functionality, and I think she rises to the top in terms of functionality and her natural beauty. We have 4 in a row below that one that you might argue are even prettier. These are gorgeous Highland females. Look at the head, look at the horns, just really pretty. So we have to appreciate that to start with. I love this heifer for her depth of body. That rib capacity, I've talked about it. It's really important. She has this hip design that's just really, you get behind her and your eyes pop and you're like, wow, look, you could dance up there. It's just, wow. So that's what we want to see. This is where the calf's coming through, right? We want a big old calf head, big broad shoulders on that calf to slip right through there and come out with no problem. So that is very admirable. I'd say she didn't surpass the heifer above her just in terms of balance. I'd like to see a little less chest in her, be cleaner in that front end. And I deliberated about that, especially between her and the heifer below her, because I appreciate that about the third place, that she's a little more clean. There's less waste. So we are, again, thinking about beef. We're talking about, the steer that this cow will produce versus the steer that cow will produce. You're likely to have more chest, more. This is a low dollar area, and we want less of it. We want high dollar steaks. We want high dollar beef in the back end of this. But she's not way out of balance. I'm being very critical about a very lovely heifer here. I like her structure, that curvature of her rib, the way she lays into these shoulders, real smooth, all very nice. So we move to the third place here. She gives up just a little bit of that depth of body, especially as she comes into the rear of her flank here. I'd like to see her drop down just a little bit more there. But like I said, a really nice front end on her. Unfortunate she broke that horn tip, but you can see the natural structure of her horns though, and that's not a genetic issue. So I'm judging genetics here, not what happened to her in an accident. So again, lovely breed character, good sound leg structure. This is going to be a nice brood cow in their herd. We move to this one. She's just giving up a little bit of the substance of the heifers above her. She doesn't have the same depth of rib, not quite the same foot quality in the rear. I do like her in her pelvic design, the width of her pins. Again, that's where the calf is coming out. We want to see plenty of width there. She exemplifies a femininity. She really, of the heifers in this lineup, the 2 above her were lesser in quality in terms of their femininity. She really has beautiful horn structure, that width between her eyes, her forelock, all of these things are very beautiful according to the breed standard. Just like to see a little more of her, a little more thickness and depth, and that's why she didn't beat those that were above her, but a fine female. We get to these last 2. And you saw me walk these out and look at them again. Some hard choices here. And sometimes the hard choice is at the top, sometimes the hard choice is down at the bottom. And in this case, I felt that this is where it really got tough. And what I'm seeing here is a heifer that has she has some depth of body, but she doesn't carry that back very well. She doesn't have the length of spine that we want to see. Want to see a female that can produce a steer that has some length, some distance along that spine like this heifer has. So you see how long she is? I put my hands on her. There is so much ribeye here, like there's a steak and a half there. Lots of power, lots of muscle. Really have to appreciate that fleshing ability. From the terminal standpoint, she is superior to the one above her. However, we're not breeding terminal cattle in the Highland breed. This is a maternal breed. There's several reasons she came last. When she first came into the ring, I thought, wow, that might be the winner there, because she really has a fine balance, a great femininity. What I want to see more of is that maternal look. She has more muscle than she needs for a Highland cow. She has a foot that is not the highest quality either. As I studied that foot, there was cracks, there was structural issues. Her dew claws are overgrown, and the way she comes down on her foot, she arcs her pastern and rocks it down continually. And that's a structural flaw over time, and we've been talking about longevity. We want to see a pastern structure that will last, and that constant movement doing that is not going to last. So, like I said, a tough decision there, because at a glance, that's a phenomenal looking animal. Some of our terminal breeds, our Simmental Limousin, they might think a little more highly of her than I did, but it came down to the structure there, and that's why she was last.
A big congratulations to Margot Don of Admirable Park, number 36, as our first place getter in our class number 15. Second place went to Wee Peggy of Barnsley, number 41 in your program. And third place went to Lara Croft II of Barnsley, number 40 in your program. We are going to head now into class number 16. This is class number 16, cow 3 years and under 5 years of age. For this class, all females over 3.5 years of age must be preg tested in calf or have a calf at foot. Any females that are 3.5 years old who are not preg tested in calf or do not have a calf at foot are not eligible for entry in competition of this class. So all except for one of our cows here have a calf at foot today, and our final cow is in calf at the moment. She does have a positive preg test. A big thank you to Will Rock You Highlands for sponsoring this class today. A big thank you to them indeed. Without our sponsors, this show is not able to happen. If you are able to today, please make your way around to some of the stalls. All of our stall holders are sponsors for us this weekend. So make sure that you're having a look at what they have to offer and supporting them for us. While we have these senior females out with us as well, once again, making sure that we are on the correct side of the banister. We do have some females that are a little bit fresh and a little bit forward out here today. So make sure that we are sitting in the correct location and we're not going to give anybody a fright or put anyone at risk. a very difficult class to judge this cow and calf class. Cow 3 years and under 5 years. Our judge has to consider the cow, but also has to consider the calf at foot and how she is providing for that calf as well. He's going to take a good strong look at all of the cows that we have here, as well as their calves, their structure, as we mentioned before, their ability to provide for their calf, but as well their breed characteristics and their femininity. If you are following along in the program, the numbers that you are seeing in the program alongside the animals' names, they're going to be visible on the jeans pocket of their handlers here today. They have previously been on what was called neck cards that would be hanging around the animal's neck. We're moving towards having them on pockets rather than around animals' necks from a safety perspective as well as an ease perspective in terms of when we have lots of animals and lots of handlers switching around. It's very easy to clip a new card number when you take a new animal into the ring. And the risks of horns or anything else being caught on a neck tag which is fastened around an animal's neck is removed by having the numbers on their pockets. You should be able to see as they walk past their number as well as the date of birth and their age as of today. The numbers are in age order, so the youngest are the lower numbers and the eldest are the higher numbers. In this class here today, we see the youngest are the furthest animals away from Harry's farmyard, and the older animals are on Harry's farmyard end of our ring here.
So, as was said before, this is one of the most challenging classes to judge. There's a lot of things at play here. We're looking at a group of young cows. This is their first or second calf. I'm judging on production. You know, I want to see a cow that can grow a calf efficiently. She's got to have the structure, the udder quality. She also has to have the production quality. So I don't want to see a cow that is big and fat and has a little calf. I want to see a cow that at all costs is going to raise that calf, and she's going to make a good one even if she has to sacrifice. And that's what a Highland cow does well. The breed originated in the Highlands of Scotland, as you probably know. They were hill cattle who had to be very efficient mothers, and they do this job better than any other breed, in my opinion. They are highly efficient. And so this is one of my favorite classes to judge, because what you see is what you get. What we're seeing right here is the finished product, cow with calf. For maternal breed, this is the apex. So I have placed this cow on top because she has the least structural faults. She's very high quality throughout, and she has really good hip, pin, pelvic design I've been talking about, good feet, rib shape, front end, breed character. She's got a February calf here that is good size for his age. I've seen some bigger ones, but he's built well. I like how square he is behind. He has adequate thickness and depth of body. It's a very good pair. There's some things you could tweak a little bit about the udder shape. It's maybe a little bit higher in the front. I'm being very critical, right? She has a high quality udder. She has a little bit of an extra teat in the back. Not the end of the world. I don't think it's going to be a problem for her calves. It's kind of up and out of the way. Sometimes that extra teat can be so large that it doesn't milk, and it can be a distraction for a new calf. I don't think that's a problem with her, so no points off there. But an outstanding pair here. Second place came to the top, or came second above the black, just in terms of her structural quality, the teat length particularly. When you have a newborn calf, you want a teat length that is really about as long as my thumb, no longer. That way the calf is not pushing on a long teat and it's flopping every which way, but they can really get their mouth on it easily before they know how to do that well. This cow has a little longer teat shape. That puts her a little lower in my mind. In terms of production, they're comparable. They both have nice calves. This calf's just a little bit better, I'd say. He is a little bit older, but I put my hands on him. He has some real natural substance. There's some muscle in him. Both of them, I'd say they could use just a touch more depth of body, but you know, that's her pattern. It's his pattern. I like to see a consistency of production in any case. This cow here in third is really better in that rib shape. I like her depth. I like her femininity. She has a good udder, even with a little longer teat, and good production, and she comes into this place really quite handily. We get to this other black cow here, and when they came in the ring, again, sometimes first impressions aren't quite what they seem, and I looked at her, and you know, if she was in a heifer lineup and she didn't have a calf at her side, I'd probably pick her all day. I really like the way she's made. She's a classic kind of Highland cow with the right structure, the rib, the front, the hip, the legs, the breed character. She's just really beautiful. The calf has those same lines about her, and I do like that. She's just a little small for her age, and it comes down to production with this breed, and so that's why she didn't rise any higher. This calf is actually approximately the same age as this calf. And so there was kind of a deliberation in my mind between these two pairs. You have a cow that has not as good as structure. This is a far superior female in terms of her own merit, but that production is very, very important. So I just want to see a little bit bigger calf. Also, her udder structure is not quite the best. And as I evaluated this class, I thought she probably had the least udder quality in the class. Not bad, mind you. There wasn't a bad one in this class. But as I felt that udder and I looked at her, considering she's a young cow, I want to see a little less teat diameter, a little less length to that teat. And I think over time, we're talking about a 16-year-old cow, even a 10-year-old cow. I don't think that udder is going to hold up as long as some of the other ones in this class. And so that's why this gorgeous female is where she stands. Udder quality and production quality, like I said, just on the profile, looking at that one, I'd pick her all day. But your last place here, I really like this calf. Like I said, better calf than the cow above her, and so that's what made it really challenging because we are judging on production. But structure of the cow wasn't as quality. We really want to see her change in her hip design, her substance. She just narrows up behind. Like to change her horn shape for breed character a bit. But this calf she's making, it's a good calf. I like that whatever sire they bred her to, she really took advantage of those genetics and is making a nice calf. So there's not a bad one in this group, folks. This is a good producing cow as well, and will have some lifespan in the herd, I believe.
A big thank you to our exhibitors and congratulations to number 44, Brianne Rue of Stone Ridge, for placing first in this class. The second place getter was Murphy's Law of Arcadia, and third place Willowdene Sky of Glenstray. Once again, in your programs, if you are following along, first place was number 44, second place was number 43, and third place was number 46. We now have the final of our senior female classes before we head into the championship. This class is class number 17, proudly sponsored by Fleming's Property Services. Class 17 is for cow 5 years and under 10 years. Once again, as with the previous class, all of the animals in this class need to either be positive preg tested or with a calf at foot, and we can see two incredible calves at foot here with these cows today.
Test. Oh, we're back. Okay. Two powerhouse females here. They've got that classic Highland look. They've got that depth of body. They've got good calves at their sides. So comes down here to production and udder quality. Really, I think that's what puts this black one above the white cow, is that teat length, that teat size is going to be a longer lasting and easier functioning udder for her calves. And so this size of a teat and length of teat exemplifies what I was saying earlier about there just being a little too much length there. And when the cow, when this cow freshens and that calf is going to get his first drink, it's going to struggle a little bit to get on those longer teats. And over time, you probably have more problems with that udder as compared to this one. And I've been talking about the longevity of this breed, and so we really, as good as they might be structurally, if they have great breed character in every way imaginable, they could be national champion, perhaps in the heifer category. But if they come back as a cow and they don't have the udder quality, it's a make or break. They just have to have that enduring quality. And so this cow rises to the top on that merit. And the production of the calf, this is a very young calf. So you look at these two, that one is twice the age of this one. So as we're evaluating that, she's still making a fair calf for its age. Is only three weeks versus 6 weeks. So I like the structure of this calf. Give this one a little bit more depth of body, perhaps. It's a good calf as well. But they stand here just mostly on that merit of longevity. Thank you.
And just as we did with our junior females, we are going to head now into the senior female championship. First, I'd love to recognise the first place getter for class number 17, Moldadu of Barnsley, and second place was Keelan of Dalmara. And we have entering the ring now the first and second place getters from all of our senior classes. We would like to thank Snake Gully Highlands for sponsoring the championship class and Mac and Leicester Highlands for sponsoring the reserve champion senior female. Once again, the judge has seen these animals before. He has judged them against a class of their same aged peers, and he will now judge them across their age groups and across their age categories.
Well, it's tough judging mature cows with senior heifers, and it's a little different than we do it in America. We would have a cow-calf class separate from our senior females, and we judge them like that. So I'm not used to this, but I'll do my best to sort this, because what we're looking at is, like I said, the finished product with these mature cows, and what you see is what you get. If I pick a senior heifer here, we're gambling a little bit. We don't know completely what her production quality will be. We don't know completely yet what her udder quality will be. So a senior heifer has to be a mighty good senior heifer to top a cow, in my opinion. So with that said, I'm not going to gamble too much. I'm going to go with this black cow as your champion. Now, for reserve, we have the white cow now as contender against the remaining class winners. The white cow, I said, I'd like to see a little better udder quality. Good production. She's a nice classic Highland cow. This cow-calf compare here definitely has the strength of production, the udder quality. Not a lot to fault there. So I'm sorting this. You're listening to my wheels spinning here. There's some tough decisions to make. I really like this senior heifer here. Like I said, in her class, she just stood out as that structural, exemplary animal. You know, she really has all the bones where you want them. She's not overfed, but she has size for her age, and she has maternal ability in the making. I see her really filling out and becoming a brood cow that can go the distance. I evaluate her udder quality just by feel. Seems like she has a small teat, a well-placed teat. I'm going to gamble on her. She's going to be your reserve.
Yes, I'm sure I'll manage.
Otherwise, we can pass it. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys go though.
You stay there.
A big congratulations to Mulderdew of Bansley and Glenn Hasty for breeding the champion senior female. Also, a big congratulations to Margot Don of Amrable Park and Amrable Park Heritage Breeds for the reserve champion senior female. Bronwyn Anderson, if you are around, we have found your wallet and it is at the AHCS tent over by the Cattle Pavilion. Bronwyn Anderson, if you can head over to the AHCS tent to collect your wallet. Now, we are going to have our champion senior female be joined by our champion junior female to compete head-to-head for the title of Grand Champion Female. This is sponsored by Cooler Creek Highlands and Lysar Photography, and you get a Carhartt jacket as a prize sponsored by Barnsley Highlands. Following the judging of the Grand Champion Female, we are going to have a lunch break, a 30-minute lunch break following the judging of this class. And then we will head into our Junior Bulls for the afternoon.
We're at our last female class here. Your supreme champion. We have our champion calf pair. Outstanding cow in many regards. Her breed character, her depth of body, her structure throughout, her foot design, calf that follows that side. Quality calf for its age. Again, it's only 3 weeks old. And we have a heifer that really has what you want for a breeding female. She has a lot of the same things that cow has. That nice big foot that's going to carry her whole life. We start with that. You know, it's the foundation of everything. So if they don't have a good foot, they don't last, and they don't make my cut. So both these, they have that. They have beauty. I want to talk just for a second about beauty. This is, I think, and I might be biased, but the most beautiful breed of cattle on earth. And I think that's something as a judge that I want to maintain. I want to see that beauty in these females. Aesthetics is an important part of our breed. It's part of our breed standard. We value that beautiful aspect. There are parts of that that are also functionality. That hair coat that goes into their hardiness. That's a factor, you know. Their insulation, the angle and tilt of their horn. Those are their defense tools, right? We want a cow that has a shape that will really be a defense tool for, you know. In Scotland, where these cows developed, they had to defend themselves from wolves and other predators who would potentially take their calves, and they had to have a horn that would fend them off. And so beauty is something that I see in both of these females. And it's not going to come down to that because they both have a lot of that. So as you saw in the previous class, I like to go with an animal that is proven, and for that reason, I'm going to go with this cow. I believe she's the right animal to be supreme. She really has that total package I am looking for. She has that breed character I'm looking for. She has that durability to go the distance, and I don't know quite with this heifer yet. I think she will, but I don't know yet. So that's how I'm going to judge this. Thank you.
A great big congratulations to Mulder Dew of Barnsley for taking out the title of Grand Champion Female of the Australian Highland Cattle Society 2024 National Show. We are going to be taking a short lunch break, so we will meet back here with our junior bull classes at 1 o'clock. Junior bull classes will be starting back again at 1 o'clock. Now, while we have our lunch break, we are going to have some musical entertainment over by the Harry's Farmyard shed there. So grab a bite to eat, have a peruse of the stalls, buy yourself a raffle ticket, and enjoy the music.